The 11th house in astrology. The 11th house, I have placements in the 11th house. And I think when we think about it, we think friends, groups, social networks, your hopes, your, future goals and dreams. Sounds fabulous. But in reality, Aquarius is associated with this house. And Aquarius, they tend to not feel like they fit in. Even if they do seemingly get along with people and seem to fit in, there's always something about Aquarius that is a bit off in the distance. And I think it's because Aquarius, ruled by Saturn, is far away from the sun. And the house, the sun associated with Leo, rules the 5th house, and the 11th house is the opposite, furthest away from there. So having placements here, even though it's associated with social groups, and it does pertain to that, it is involved, that is the part of life. But a lot of times you may not feel that way. Whatever placement you have there may feel possibly disconnected from the group in that way, because there's something about you in your placement there that is a bit forward, innovative thinking in a way. It's not necessarily thinking, because like, for example, my sister has Mars there, and her actions to me seem like I understand her maybe better than other people do, but I do think that people do tend to not know what she's going to do next, and it's because she is a bit closed off with sharing how she's going to act. And that is that Aquarius kind of distance where they do what they want because they have it worked out in their head, but other people may not understand where they're coming from, because Aquarius is very very smart too, in their own unique way. So for example, I have Sun here in one system. I have Sun in 11th house in Placidus. And so you think, oh, you must be surrounded by people. Your whole life must be around social networks, full humanitarian, all that stuff. Not quite. I also have Sun conjunct Chiron. So it's like you shine there, but you also your wound there. So it causes a whole different energy. And then depending on the sign that rules that house, also adds a whole different energy to how you are interacting with people in groups. And a group can be as small as 3. So for me, I've always had trouble actually interacting in groups specifically. One-on-one, I feel way more comfortable. But groups, there's always a huge disconnect for me. And there is this like timing thing about it. It's like what I want to talk about doesn't quite match up with what other people are focusing on. And then the whole like Aquarian humanitarian aspect is like, I do have a big focus on society as a whole. Like I have a lot of thoughts and I do focus on that bigger picture kind of zoomed out lens a lot. And that can make me seem distant in a lot of ways, because like the sun doesn't like to be in the 11th house. It wants to be in like the 5th house or like the 1st house. Modern ruler requires, which is Uranus, and that can tend to lead to like feeling like an outsider because it's very rebellious energy. Nonconformity is like naturally ingrained there. So the nonconformity can lead to like the energy can lead to people misunderstanding you as maybe cold or distant or rebellious against them. And then also their Uranus is sudden changes. So sudden connection or sudden disconnection very fast, which is really hard for relationships and group dynamics. And so having placements in the 11th house comes with that Uranus energy because you are supposed to stand out in a way, because you're supposed to give ideas and stuff to the group that's different from what they've had before, to give it a different energy, to add that to the group, that unique Uranus energy of whatever placement you have there. 11th house, that's why it's tricky, I think, and that's why people don't talk about it a lot, is because there's something about it that is unique for your placement there. And that's why like looking at the chart helps so much in talking about the 11th house more so than generally speaking about it, because there's also an element in traditional astrology associated with the 11th house where there's like this house of good spirits associated with spirits that kind of connect with you so that you can kind of share things to society in a way. So there's this reincarnation aspect because it's also Aquarius ruled like by Saturn time. So it's almost like you're getting messages to share with people from a different time, which kind of makes you like a reincarnation in some ways. And there are, because like opposite the 5th house of creation and joy, there's a lot of connotations to that too, because the houses always work in balances with each other. And so, yeah, depending on what you have there, it really will tell you a lot, because the 11th house is deep, and it's every house is deep in their its own way. It's just hard to speak about certain houses in a more general way, I think is what it is. So if you have placements in the 11th house, what are your placements? Maybe we can get into them more and kind of look at them from a different lens. And if you're interested in astrology, I focus on the asteroids. You can look to my website for readings.